There are few names in history that can stop the world with a single mention. Michael Jackson is one of them. For millions of people across generations, he wasn't simply a singer. He became the soundtrack to childhoods, celebrations, and unforgettable moments. His music crossed borders, languages, and cultures in a way few artists ever have. Every moonwalk, every unforgettable performance, and every groundbreaking music video helped redefine what popular entertainment could become. But behind the dazzling lights, sold-out stadiums, and worldwide fame existed another story. One filled with astonishing financial highs, difficult personal decisions, and a fortune so enormous that even years after his passing, it continues to surprise financial experts. When Michael Jackson died in 2009, headlines around the world focused on his music, his influence, and the tragedy of losing one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived. Yet another question quietly emerged. What exactly had he left behind? Many assumed his financial story had ended in disaster because reports of debt had followed him during the final years of his life. Others believed his vast empire had simply disappeared. The truth turned out to be far more remarkable than almost anyone expected. Over the next few decades, Michael Jackson's estate would become one of the most successful celebrity estates ever managed, generating billions of dollars in revenue through music, licensing, films, merchandise, streaming, and carefully planned business partnerships. Instead of fading with time, his commercial influence continued to grow. In this video, we'll explore how Michael Jackson built one of entertainment's greatest fortunes, the financial struggles that nearly overshadowed his success, what really happened to his estate after his passing, how his family ultimately benefited from its remarkable recovery, the business decisions that transformed it into an extraordinary financial success, and why his legacy continues to generate enormous value around the world today. Because the story of Michael Jackson's fortune isn't just about money. It's about one of the greatest comebacks an estate has ever achieved. And by the end, you'll understand why the wealth he left behind shocked almost everyone. Long before billion-dollar estimates surrounded his name, Michael Jackson was simply a young boy from Gary, Indiana, performing with his brothers in a family group that would eventually change music history. As the youngest standout member of the Jackson 5, his extraordinary voice and stage presence were impossible to ignore. Even as a child, audiences recognized something different about him. Motown Records quickly transformed the group into international stars, producing hit after hit throughout the late 1960s and early 1970s. Success arrived almost overnight. Television appearances, concert tours, record sales, and merchandising introduced Michael to millions of fans before he was even old enough to understand the full scale of his fame. But his greatest achievements were still years away. When Michael launched his adult solo career, he wasn't satisfied with simply making popular music. He wanted to redefine the entire industry. Albums like Off the Wall proved he could succeed on his own, blending pop, soul, disco, and funk into a sound that appealed to audiences everywhere. The album sold millions of copies and established him as one of the biggest solo artists in the world. Then came Thriller. Released in 1982, it didn't just become successful. It became a cultural phenomenon. The album remains the best-selling album of all time according to multiple industry estimates, with global sales commonly estimated at more than 70 million copies, though exact figures vary by source and certification standards. Nearly every song became a hit. The music videos weren't simply promotional tools anymore. They became cinematic events. Billie Jean, Beat It, Thriller. Each one pushed creative boundaries and transformed MTV into an international force. Music videos suddenly became as important as the songs themselves, and Michael Jackson stood at the center of that revolution. His concerts reached another level entirely. Tours supporting albums like Bad, Dangerous, and History attracted millions of fans across multiple continents. Stadium after stadium sold out as audiences gathered to witness performances unlike anything they had ever seen. Ticket sales generated hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of his touring career, while album royalties, publishing income, endorsements, television rights, and merchandising expanded his earnings even further. By the late 1980s, Michael Jackson had become one of the highest-paid entertainers on earth. But perhaps one of his smartest business decisions happened away from the stage. In 1985, he purchased the ATV Music Publishing Catalog, a deal that gave him ownership rights to thousands of songs written by numerous artists, including many by the Beatles. At the time, the acquisition surprised industry observers because music publishing wasn't nearly as glamorous as performing. Yet ownership meant long-term income. Every time those songs were played, licensed, or reproduced, the catalog generated revenue. Years later, the catalog evolved through major corporate partnerships into one of the most valuable publishing assets in the music business, reinforcing Michael's reputation as someone who understood that lasting wealth often came from ownership rather than performance alone. As his fortune expanded, so did his lifestyle. He purchased extraordinary homes, collected valuable artwork, owned luxury vehicles, invested heavily in creative projects. Most famously, he transformed Neverland Ranch into a one-of-a-kind property featuring amusement rides, gardens, a private zoo, and entertainment facilities unlike anything associated with another recording artist. To many people, Neverland represented imagination brought to life. To others, it symbolized how enormous Michael Jackson's success had become. From the outside, it seemed almost impossible to imagine that someone capable of earning so much could ever face serious financial trouble. But fortunes built over decades can change faster than most people realize. Behind the incredible success, warning signs had already begun to appear. And before long, the king of pop would find himself confronting financial challenges that threatened the empire he had spent a lifetime creating. By the early 2000s, Michael Jackson remained one of the most recognizable people on the planet. His music still reached millions, his influence could be seen in a new generation of performers, and his catalog of hits continued to generate income. Yet behind the scenes, his financial picture had become increasingly complicated. It wasn't that Michael had stopped earning money. In fact, his recordings, publishing interests, and licensing agreements still produced substantial revenue. The challenge was that his expenses had grown just as dramatically over the years. Maintaining Neverland Ranch alone required millions of dollars annually. The sprawling California estate included amusement rides, landscaped grounds, animal care, security, and a large staff. It had been created as a personal retreat unlike any other, but operating such a property came with enormous ongoing costs. Beyond Neverland, Michael's lifestyle reflected the scale of his success. He purchased luxury homes, collected fine art and antiques, commissioned custom-designed furnishings, and often traveled with extensive security and support teams. Reports from people familiar with his business affairs suggested that his spending frequently outpaced the cash coming in from current projects. At the same time, his career faced periods of uncertainty. Although his earlier albums remained timeless, the music industry itself was changing. Physical album sales were beginning to decline, digital downloads were emerging, and artists increasingly relied on touring to generate large revenues. For Michael, touring became less frequent. That meant fewer opportunities to produce the kind of income that had once flowed from worldwide stadium performances. His legal challenges also carried a significant financial cost. Over several years, Michael faced investigations and court proceedings that attracted constant international media attention. While he was acquitted of all charges in his 2005 criminal trial, the legal process itself required extensive professional representation and reportedly cost millions of dollars. Even after those proceedings ended, the financial impact remained. To manage his obligations, Michael increasingly relied on loans backed by valuable assets, including interests connected to his music publishing holdings. Borrowing against valuable property is not unusual among wealthy individuals, but in his case the debts grew large enough to become a recurring subject of public discussion. By the final years of his life, news reports frequently described him as carrying hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. The exact amount varied depending on the source and how different assets and liabilities were valued, making precise figures difficult to confirm. What was clear, however, was that his financial situation had become far more fragile than many fans realized. Yet even during this difficult period, one thing remained undeniable. Michael Jackson still possessed extraordinary assets. His recordings continued to sell. His publishing interests remained exceptionally valuable. His name alone had worldwide commercial power. Many financial analysts believed that if his assets could be managed carefully over time, their long-term value could outweigh the debts attached to them. That possibility became even more significant in 2009. Earlier that year, Michael announced his highly anticipated This Is It concert residency in London. Demand was overwhelming. The initial run of shows sold so quickly that dozens of additional performances were added. Fans saw it as an opportunity to witness one of music's greatest performers return to the stage. For Michael, the concerts also represented an opportunity to stabilize his finances. Preparations were extensive. Rehearsals were underway, elaborate stage designs were being developed, and anticipation continued to grow worldwide. But those performances would never happen. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at the age of 50 after suffering cardiac arrest caused by acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication, according to the official findings of the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. His death stunned the world. Within hours, attention turned not only to his extraordinary career but also to the condition of his estate. Many assumed it would collapse under the weight of its reported debts. Instead, a carefully prepared legal framework began to take effect. Michael had signed a will in 2002. The document named attorney John Branca and music executive John McClain as the executors of his estate. Their responsibility was immense. Protect Michael's assets, satisfy creditors, provide for his beneficiaries, and preserve the long-term value of one of the most recognizable brands in entertainment history. The challenges they inherited were considerable. Creditors expected repayment. Business relationships needed to be reviewed. Contracts required evaluation. Valuable intellectual property had to be protected, and every major decision would be scrutinized by the public. Rather than rushing to sell prized assets, the executors took a different approach. They focused on generating revenue from what Michael had spent decades creating. His music, his image, his performances, his copyrights, his publishing interests. One of their earliest and most successful decisions came with the release of the documentary concert film Michael Jackson's This Is It. Built from rehearsal footage originally recorded for the cancelled London shows. Released just months after his death, the film became a global box office success and introduced audiences to the remarkable level of preparation that had gone into the planned concerts. It was only the beginning. Over the following years, the estate pursued carefully selected licensing agreements, music releases, merchandise, theatrical productions, and strategic partnerships designed not only to repay debts but also to strengthen the value of Michael Jackson's legacy for future generations. Few could have predicted what happened next. What many believed was a financially troubled estate was about to become one of the most profitable celebrity estates in modern history, transforming debt into extraordinary long-term success and reshaping the future of Michael Jackson's family. When Michael Jackson passed away in 2009, many financial observers expected years of legal battles, shrinking assets, and a gradual decline in the value of his estate. Considering the reports of substantial debt and the uncertainty surrounding his finances, it seemed like a difficult road ahead. Instead, something remarkable happened. The Michael Jackson estate became one of the most successful celebrity estates ever managed. The transformation did not happen overnight. It was the result of years of careful planning, disciplined financial management, and a recognition that Michael's greatest asset had never been a mansion, a luxury collection, or even a concert stage. It was his music. The executors focused on protecting that music while finding responsible ways to introduce it to new generations. Rather than flooding the market with every unreleased recording, they generally pursued selective projects intended to preserve the value of the brand. Album sales surged after Michael's death as longtime fans revisited his catalog and younger listeners discovered it for the first time. Collections such as the Essential Michael Jackson and reissues of his classic albums found new audiences around the world. His timeless hits returned to charts in dozens of countries, reminding the industry that truly iconic music rarely fades. Then came the streaming era. As platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and others became the primary way people consumed music, Michael Jackson's catalog experienced another wave of popularity. Songs that had originally been released decades earlier suddenly became just a tap away for billions of listeners. Billie Jean, Beat It, Smooth Criminal, Black or White, Man in the Mirror. These songs continued attracting hundreds of millions, and in some cases billions, of streams across digital platforms. Each stream represented only a small amount of revenue, but together they created a powerful and consistent source of income that simply did not exist during Michael's lifetime. His influence extended far beyond streaming. The estate carefully licensed his music for films, television programs, commercials, documentaries, and special events. Every agreement required balancing commercial opportunity with protecting the image of one of the world's most recognizable entertainers. Merchandise also became an important part of preserving both the brand and the business. Collectors continued purchasing anniversary editions of albums, clothing, books, artwork, and officially licensed memorabilia. Around the world, exhibitions celebrating Michael's life attracted fans eager to experience costumes, photographs, handwritten notes, and artifacts connected to his extraordinary career. On stage, His legacy continued through productions inspired by his music. The Broadway musical MJ introduced his story to a new generation of theater audiences and became a commercial success, while productions by Cirque du Soleil celebrated his music through elaborate performances that reached audiences far beyond traditional concertgoers. These projects demonstrated something extraordinary. Michael Jackson's career had evolved beyond the traditional life cycle of a recording artist. His work had become part of global popular culture. Financially, the results were astonishing. Over the years, the estate announced that it had repaid the substantial debts that existed at the time of Michael's death while generating billions of dollars in gross revenue through music sales, licensing, live productions, merchandise, publishing income, and other business activities. Although estimates of the estate's total value vary depending on market conditions and the valuation methods used, financial analysts generally regard it as one of the most valuable entertainment estates in history. One milestone came in 2016, when the estate and Sony completed a major transaction involving the Sony/ATV music publishing venture. While the details of various rights and retained interests are complex, the deal reportedly generated hundreds of millions of dollars for the estate and further strengthened its financial position. Throughout these years, Michael's heirs also benefited from the estate's recovery. Under the terms of his estate plan, his children, Prince, Paris, and B.G. Jackson, were among the principal beneficiaries through trusts established for their benefit. His mother, Katherine Jackson, also continued to receive support from the estate for many years, consistent with the provisions made for her care. Rather than receiving a single publicly confirmed inheritance amount immediately after Michael's passing, distributions have generally been managed over time through the estate and trust arrangements, reflecting a long-term approach to preserving wealth. That careful management helped ensure that Michael's family did not simply inherit valuable assets. They inherited an estate capable of supporting future generations while protecting one of the most recognized names in entertainment. Yet despite the extraordinary financial success, numbers alone cannot explain Michael Jackson's legacy. His influence can be seen every time a young performer studies his choreography, every time an artist experiments with cinematic music videos, every time audiences of different generations sing along to songs released decades ago as though they were brand new. Few entertainers have changed popular culture as profoundly. Fewer still continue shaping it long after they're gone. His story is also a reminder that wealth is about far more than the balance of a bank account. During his lifetime, Michael experienced unimaginable success, relentless pressure, personal challenges, and financial uncertainty. After his passing, careful stewardship transformed a heavily indebted estate into one of the greatest financial recoveries in entertainment history. But even that remarkable achievement isn't what people remember first. They remember the music, the performances, the unmistakable voice, the moonwalk that changed dance forever, the songs that still bring people together across continents, cultures, and generations. Fortunes can grow, assets can appreciate, business deals can make headlines. But the greatest inheritance Michael Jackson left the world wasn't measured in dollars. It was measured in inspiration. More than 15 years after his passing, the King of Pop continues to prove that true greatness doesn't end when the curtain falls. It lives on every time someone presses play. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments which Michael Jackson song has stayed with you the longest. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who appreciates the incredible history behind music's greatest legends. Because some artists create hit songs, Michael Jackson created a legacy that continues to echo around the world. And that may be the most valuable fortune of all.